Here we have a homework assignment that was submitted by a student, and I'm going to grade it using a traditional approach with my red pen, and then we can compare that to this new idea. All right, so here we go with the red pen. So obviously the student can see here that they made a bunch of mistakes, maybe applied the right principle. The point here is that there's no real constructive feedback. So let's do better. Let's spend not too much more time, but let's show them where things are happening. And I don't have to write it out in order for them to see it. So imagine we have this grading system in which we can record what we're doing. And so I can talk to the student as I grade this. So I start here and I say, okay, so I don't see that you have any kind of a system defined, and that's going to make it challenging to really visualize the problem. Second off, here you've got the ideal gas equation to state. That really doesn't apply very well to liquid water. All right, so I do see that you've got the Bernoulli equation, so that's a good thing. That's the governing equation. And it looks like you went out to try and find the velocity of the flow through this using the volumetric flow rate, which works pretty well, but when you don't show your units, it can be really challenging to get the right number, and this one certainly isn't. Next, I see that you started plugging in the numbers that you did know. Once again, you left out the units, and that's going to make it really tricky because some of these things need to be converted before they can be added together properly, which is part of why you got such a huge number here that is certainly way outside of the ballpark. I see that you did try to use the right formulation to relate the shear stress to the pressure, but when you sub that number in here, of course, you get another thing that's a bit of an issue. So as I look at this, what I see is that you've got the basic idea of the Bernoulli equation down, so I can click on that tag. I see that you did apply the incompressible assumption, but you don't really see the inviscid or the streamline, and you certainly didn't capture the steady state aspect of this problem. You did apply the concept of the volumetric flow rate, but it looks like you had some issues with your units, and so I'm going to definitely select that one as a challenge area for you to improve on. It also looks like this density that you looked up, I'm not sure what table you got that from, but it's not the correct value for water at 70 degrees. So it looks like you've got a really great start here, but you're going to want to apply a few more ideas in order to really bring this thing to a close. Okay, so now let's imagine that this student has taken that feedback and applied some constructive thinking to it and tried this problem again. So now I can provide a second round of feedback for the student very quickly by telling him, oh, this is great, look, you've got your system defined clearly, I can see where everything is, and I can tell that this helped you picture the problem. Here you've labeled all of what you know and what you don't know, and that's a great thing. You've certainly applied that incompressible assumption. You recognize that the governing equation is Bernoulli, and so I'll go ahead and click on that tag for you. And you looked up at the table, thank you for citing the source. Now I know that you've got the right number there, and so we'll give you the tag on that one as well. You recognize that you don't know the velocities, and so maybe a mass balance is a good way to do that. You would be correct. And you can see here that because it's steady, so I'll check on that tag, that the velocities have to be equal. Well, that's very convenient because when you rearrange your Bernoulli equation to solve for the thing you're looking for, this change in pressure, you can cancel that term out. Now it's just a matter of subbing in the numbers, and that looks like you've done it correctly here. The challenge is that once again you left your units out, and so some things didn't cancel properly. I think you've got an issue with some things being in terms of feet and others being in terms of inches, and so the units on your answer here aren't quite right. But you do have all the right numbers plugged in, and so if you'd convert the units, you would get the 43 psi. I'll go ahead and click that mass balance for you as well. You definitely applied the inviscid assumption and flow along a streamline in order for Bernoulli to work. Looks like you got the volumetric flow rate down. So really you just need to work on these English units a bit. Overall though, really great job. So that's kind of a look at what I'm thinking about here, is that using just kind of a stream of consciousness, I can respond to a student's work with all the things that were running through my head, and I don't have to take the time to write them out. But now the student has gotten very constructive feedback. They can see the issues that they're having, and as you can see here, make a improvement on their previous effort. Of course, I'll have to make fun of myself a little bit here. Being a severe optimist, I've drawn all of my curves on different tags here going up in the positive direction, which of course is what we hope for. Anyhow, I hope this provides some new ideas on maybe how we could provide better feedback to our students, and I appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day.